Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we'll start the session, and at the end of the session, anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. And the fifth chapter is Karma Sannyasa Yoga, or Karma Yoga, or action in Krishna consciousness. So in the fourth chapter, Lord Krishna spoke about various kinds of yagnas or sacrificial work. So by doing these yagnas, it could be dravya yagna, gnana yagna, japa yagna, and etc. So any of these yagnas which have been prescribed in the Shastra, so once if that is done with good faith and devotion, that will culminate in knowledge. So we spoke about this in detail. So because by doing those yagnas, our heart will be purified, and therefore we can assimilate more knowledge. Now, at the end of fourth chapter, again Krishna advises Arjuna to wake up and fight, being situated in perfect knowledge. So, because originally Arjuna raised the question in the third chapter, so that we will see, it will repeat again now in the fifth chapter. So Arjuna was confused by, at least he perceived that Krishna's instructions were kind of contradictory, because he says, on one hand, you ask me to give up, all activities which are not good. And on the other hand, you ask me to fight. So he's asking, which is better? Should I cultivate knowledge? See, giving up all activities, he's thinking, I have to give up all activities and, cultivate knowledge like some, sage. So is that better? Or should I work, in devotion? So now, Arjuna revisits that question. So therefore, now again Krishna spoke about knowledge. So he spoke about the importance of working, but in a detached manner. And he also spoke about inaction in knowledge. So now Krishna is, Arjuna is again confused. So now he asks in the first shloka, Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha samshasi yachreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. So he's saying, oh Krishna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work. And then again, you recommend me to work with the devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me which of these two are beneficial? Now, where does Krishna exactly ask him to renounce work? Because when Krishna has been glorifying knowledge, right? He's saying all these different kinds of sacrificial work or yagna, that is all different types of karma. So by doing all that, you will come to a higher stage of attaining knowledge. So that means knowledge is higher than work. But then again, you ask me to, at the end of the fourth chapter, again you ask me to give up everything and fight, that I have to do my work. So he's confused now. Therefore, now Krishna will go on clarifying. So Krishna, from the shlokas 1 to 6, he basically replies, in summary, what he actually says is, the results of karma yoga and renunciation of work are actually both the same. So, what do we really mean by karma yoga? Karma yoga means we do karma, which is prescribed. We continue to work according to what is prescribed for us in by the Supreme Lord through His scriptures. But then we give up uh, the results of for work. We offer the results of that work to the Lord. So that is really karma yoga. So now renunciation of work actually also means the same. So even in the third chapter, if you remember, Krishna had said, nobody can stop working. That means nobody can be completely inactive. Huh? Even for a fraction of a second, it's not possible. Why? Because even if we pretend that we are not doing anything, our mind will be working. So either through the body or the mind or words, we will be doing some activity. So therefore, um, it's better to work in devotion, rather than simply sit, thinking that I have renounced work. So therefore, karma yoga, he says, is better. It's easier to perform and safe, and it's more practical because it keeps all our senses engaged simultaneously, and it also purifies the heart by working with detachment. So we will see in detail what all this means. So therefore, now Lord Krishna starts speaking. Sannyasa karma yogascha nishreyasa karabhubhav tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. So actually, here Lord is saying there is it's just the two faces of the same coin. So Arjuna is there's a an assumption made by Arjuna that these two are different. Working in devotion and renunciation of work. Working in devotion, according to him, knowledge. Knowledge means renunciation of work, giving up work, and cultivating knowledge, and then working in devotion. He thinks they are both different, but Krishna is actually saying here they both are good for liberation. But of the two, working in devotion or devotional service is better than renouncing work altogether. So, especially for people in Kali Yuga, it's extremely difficult it's practically impossible to, go to a secluded place like a forest or, maybe the Himalayas, and then sit and do dhyana, meditation, completely giving up the material activities. So, in fact, even in the sixth chapter, Arjuna himself questions this because Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavat dhridam vayoriva sudushkaram. The mind is so restless. It is more powerful than the wind. It is constantly moving. So how can we bring the mind to that state of equilibrium? Uh, First of all, there are no forests nowadays. We mostly see concrete jungles. So to find a secluded place and to be able to give up our job or family life and everything is also extremely difficult. It's not possible like in the previous ages. Even if we were to do that, we are not used to this whole process of dhyana yoga because that requires years and years and years of practice. In fact, there are so many yogis, they go on practicing such dhyana or yoga for many lifetimes. So, therefore, now Krishna says, he is speaking Bhagavad Gita for Kali Yuga people more than Dwapar Yuga. Even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, because he explicitly says, it is said in the ninth canto actually of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kalau Janishyamananam Dukhashokhatta Monudam Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Supunyam Yatano Yashaha. So Kalau Janishyamananam. Lord Krishna came at the very fag end of Dwapar Yuga and he did his amazing, incredible, unmatched Leelas. Surely the people who were there at that time were the direct beneficiaries. But then, as soon as Krishna left this world and he went back to Vaikuntha, Kali Yuga started. So, all his teachings through Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, so it was more for people of the upcoming age of Kali Yuga. Therefore, in the shloka, it is said, Krishna did such beautiful leelas in Kali Yuga. Why? So that people who are born in Kali Yuga, he knows that we are extremely stressed and there's so many problems we have to deal with. Therefore, just by thinking of his leelas, wonderful leelas, we will be freed from all sorts of lamentation, unhappiness, and ignorance. So therefore, whatever Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita too, it's very, very practical and relevant for us. So we should never think that, oh, he has spoken it 5,000 years back. It's not practical now and all that. No, it is spoken keeping us in mind. So in the third shloka now he says, Neyasa nitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati. Nirdvandho hi mahabaho sukham bandha pramuchyate. So now Krishna, very many places in the Bhagavad Gita, even previously we have seen in the fourth chapter and second chapter. So he has spoken about the characteristics of one who has attained the spiritual perfection. So now again he is talking about these because, here he's talking about one who has actually attained that state of knowledge. So these are the characteristics. And son, what are those characteristics? And is it so easy to attain those characteristics? So therefore he's saying, see, one who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities, he is the one who is real sannyasi. So because Arjuna is now again and again asking, oh, should I give up work and should I become sannyasi and all that? So Krishna is clarifying. See, one who simply gives up his external material activities, he is not, you can't just rubber stamp him to be a sannyasi. Then who really is sannyasi? That also he has spoken at length in the second chapter. So we have also discussed about this. When he starts in the shloka 54 onwards in the second chapter, when he starts answering Arjuna's questions about who is this person of a self-realization, who has attained that spiritual platform, what are his characteristics? So Krishna starts saying, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha tasya prajna pratishtita. So prajahati yada kaman. First word is prajahati, means who has completely pratishtharupena jahati, completely given up all sorts of material selfish desires for sense enjoyment, material enjoyment. Sarvan partha manogatan. So what is manogatan? Oh, it's all in the mind. First of all, it's in the mind. Externally, one may have given up activities, but who really is a real sannyasi is one who has internally given up those desires. So that's why in the third chapter again he says, mithyachara sa uchyate. He who is a pretender, he who has externally given up these material activities. He may be sitting in Himalayas or somewhere like that, but then for just to make a show, there are many like that. Unfortunately, either for fame or either for some material profit, they put on the garb of a sannyasi, but internally they're only thinking about material objects. Then what kind of a sannyasi? So therefore, he's saying that is not the criterion. That is not the meaning of sannyas. So therefore, not the one who has stopped working is not really the sannyasi, but one who has given up his desires for the fruits of those activities. He is really a sannyasi. Therefore, the person who is really free from all dualities, he can actually become free from his karma bandhana, reactions for all karmas. And he will become completely liberated. So this is a very loaded verse. So what really he means by fruits of activities? So this also we have discussed. So it helps always to revisit. So let's say there are two people. They're both going for a job. One is a devotee and one is an ordinary person who is materialistic. Both are doing their job, both of them are earning their money. But this devotee, if he's a really pure devotee, he is doing his job because he wants that money to uh, either give it to the temple or give it for some seva, or or to do some seva himself. So he's only thinking, okay, I'm going to get this much money, so I'm going to use at least some of it for buying fruits, flowers, and I'll offer it to Lord Krishna, or I will, use that money to serve some sadhus and Vaishnavas, things like that. So, but the other person who's materialistic, he's only calculating, oh, at the end of the month, at the beginning of the month, when I get my salary, the end of the month, I'm going to use this for, pay off my loan, pay off, maybe I'll buy a car or I'll buy a house or whatever. I'm going to use all this for all these things. So he's only thinking about his own selfish agenda. Therefore, of course, I'm not denying that we need money for our own, basic needs to keep our body, to maintain our body and to maintain our bodily needs. That's all they're required, purely. Nobody can live without feeding the food to the body, and we also need home, and we need all that, whatever are the daily requirements. But apart from that, we should also utilize our time, money, energy, everything for the service of the Lord. So therefore, see, so one who is really renounced is one who is not really interested in the fruits of his activity. He's just doing the activity for the sake of the Lord. So another important example that we have discussed previously is like, Srila Prabhupada always gives this example of a cashier of a bank. So this cashier, he deals with a lot of money on a daily basis. So every day the bank, has a certain inflow of money. Some days it's more, some days it's less. But will the cashier be affected by that? When the bank gets a bigger inflow of money, he's not going to celebrate because, oh, there's more money coming in. Nor is he going to be depressed if there is less money coming in on other days. So whatever be the case, how much ever it, cash comes in or goes out, he's only doing his job. He has to count, he has to be accountable for the money, and then he will, inform his higher authorities about what the status of that day. Other than that, he's not affected. Similarly, one who is really detached, he also works on behalf of the Lord, just like the cashier. Why is he not affected? Because he knows this money doesn't belong to me. I get my paycheck, that's it. How much ever money comes and goes, it doesn't matter. At least one who is honest. So he is completely detached from the money, and he knows that all this belongs to the bank, not me. So how does it matter to him? Similarly, one who is really devoted to Lord, and at the same time who's very detached from the desires, or who doesn't desire the fruits of his activity. That means he may be earning. I'm just giving one example here. It's not only about earning. It can span over so many different activities. Let's say somebody is cooking, and so if he's a materialist, he keeps thinking, oh, I'm going to cook this dish today. I'm going to cook that dish today. I love this because I'm going to cook this because I like this taste or this dish or whatever. But one who's a pure devotee, he cooks because the Lord will be happy. So let me cook this today and offer it to the Lord. So he may be happy. So that is, of course, it's a very high state of devotion. But ideally, that's what it means to be free from desires or fruits of activity. So to do activities for the sake of the Lord. That's what Krishna says here. Okay, in the next shloka, he says, Sankhya yoga prithak balaha pravadanti na panditaha ekam apyasthita samyak abhayor vindate phalam. So here he's saying, see, both Sankhya yoga, or cultivating knowledge, or karma yoga, or you can say offering karma in devotion to the Lord, karma sannyasa yoga. So both of them are not different. So they are two sides of the same coin. So he's saying those who are really learned, they know that these two are, not two different paths. They are different stages in the same path of devotion that leads to the Lord. Therefore, he says, one who is really learned, he'll apply himself to one of these paths, and still he will achieve the same result. There is no difference. So in the next shloka, he says, Yat sankhyae prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati sa pashyati. The one who can see that both these, attaining of knowledge and devotional service, both these are on the same level. He really sees, only he sees things as they are. He should not see that if they are contradicting each other. So therefore, one who knows the position reached by this means of Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga means analytical knowledge, cultivate knowledge, or it is the analytical study of various material elements and so on. And ultimately, they come to the conclusion that, the spirit soul and that supreme Lord, supreme soul, from various elements of this material world, and they also come to finally cultivate bhakti to the Lord. So therefore, that is also devotional service that can culminate in devotional service, and to do devotional service to the Lord, bhakti seva, that is also the same. Only so, really learned people, they don't see that they are different. Sannyasasthu mahabaho dukkhamaptam mayogataha yoga yukto brahma nachirena gacchati. So again, Krishna is saying here, just merely giving up all activities and yet not engaging in the service of the Lord. Service means it's always devotional service. When it comes to the Lord, it is always bhakti, because we cannot approach the Lord through any other means. Uh, we can be practicing dhyana yoga, gnana yoga, karma yoga, sankhya yoga, whatever, name it. But ultimately, what really connects Jiva to the Paramatma is bhakti. So that is the final connection. So therefore, uh, just by giving up all activities and not engaging in bhakti seva, devotional service to the Lord, one cannot be happy. Therefore, he says, a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the Supreme Lord without delay. So, therefore, Krishna is recommending here, because this is also in response to Arjuna's question that should I just give up all activities and just cultivate knowledge, because it's a no, by performing all different activities of karma yoga, different types of yagna and all that, we attain knowledge. So then, should I just try to attain knowledge instead of doing all the activities? Therefore, Krishna is saying, even if you are trying to cultivate knowledge, or whatever activity you're performing, one has to engage oneself in bhakti seva or devotional service. Otherwise, one cannot be happy. So, mere renunciation of all activities will not give us happiness. One may simply pretend, thinking that, oh, so just like, there is a class of people, they say, Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. That means this whole world and everything related to it is false. So those kind of impersonalists people, they think everything is false. Therefore, you give this up, and then you can concentrate on what is truth, Brahman. But just by giving up everything, one cannot be happy unless one really engages all our senses. So, because eyes always need to see something, ears always need to hear something, the tongue always needs to taste something or speak something. So, these are all the natural proclivities of the senses. And when we artificially repress them and don't give them engagement, then, they will, such yogis, they will fall down. Many times the example is given of Vishwamitra Muni. So he was doing very rigorous tapasya. But when some Apsara came, Urushi, so he fell down from that high platform and he got distracted. So that means to say all his senses were not engaged. So, but there are examples of very great devotees like Ambarish Maharaj. A classic example is given from Bhagavatam. So Ambarish Maharaj was a king. So he had to perform all his kingly duties and everything. But he engaged each and every sense and limbs of his in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, he became so strong spiritually and he was so powerful, yet he was very humble. When he was challenged by the great yogi Durvasa Muni, ultimately Durvasa Muni was defeated. Durvasa Muni thought, see, I am a sannyasi. I have given up all material activities. I am very powerful. I can curse this fellow. He is just a king. But actually speaking, because Ambarish Maharaja was a great devotee, he was always serving the Lord through all his senses and limbs. Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchate. So, bhakti means by serving the Lord through all our senses. with the eyes, we should always see Lord's Murti, deities. Then by ears, we should always hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Krishna Katha. By tongue, we should always chant Hare Krishna and other holy names of the Lord, and take only Krishna Prasadam, so on and so forth. Then that will be perfect. So therefore, this is karma sannyasa. So not just an action in Krishna consciousness. So yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriya sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. So one who works in devotion, who's a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, he's dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Though he's always working, he's never entangled. Yoga yukto. Yoga yukto means one who is always in touch with the Lord. That means he's always doing bhakti. How can we be connected to the Lord? Through bhakti. So yoga actually means connection with the Lord, and that is bhakti. So he's always doing some way or the other. He's doing some seva or the other to the Lord. That's what, like maybe taking darshan of the Lord in the temple, or by doing Nama Sankirtana, or by hearing Bhagavad Gita, or by reading, or whatever. So he's always engaged like that in Bhakti Seva. And therefore he has become completely purified, Vishuddhatma, Vijitatma Jitendriya. Such a person, because all his senses, his intelligence, mind, body is always engaged in Bhakti, he is completely purified, and he is also he's won over his senses. He's completely controlled his senses. Therefore, when so even though great yogi like Vishwamitra, he got distracted by Urushi, but great devotees like Haridas Thakur, we have seen 500 years back, who appeared along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and other associates. He was constantly doing Harinama Japa, and once a prostitute was sent to distract him. So no matter what, he never got distracted, and she accepted defeat, and then she herself became a great devotee. So therefore, we can see that when the senses are engaged in the Lord's bhakti, then there is no chance of getting distracted or falling down from the spiritual platform. So therefore, his senses are completely, such a person's senses are completely controlled. Jitendriya. Vijit Atma means he's won over his mind, and he's a purified soul. So such a person, he is actually Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, means he's very, very dear to all living entities, and everyone is also dear to him. So it is not just that, in nowadays the conception of a good person means he may be good to some, either some class of people, either to his family, or maybe his community, or to, maximum to the human society. But he may not be good to other living entities. He may be killing other animals, or he may be killing mosquitoes or ants, or what knows what nowadays. So that's all, it's not considered bad. That's, people think it's, it's natural. But according to the Supreme Lord, one should be a friend of all living entities. Because the Supreme Lord, he is the father of all living entities. And therefore, he doesn't distinguish, that this person is a man, this jiva is in the body of an ant, or this jiva is now in the form of a mosquito. They're all his children. Sarva yonishu kaunteya sambhavanti murtayaha. Tasam Brahma Mahadyonir Aham Bija Pradapita. So he says that I am the seed giving father. Therefore, for a father, all his children are dear to him equally. So therefore, so the Lord wants his devotees also to be kind to all living entities. And then naturally, when one is not envious of other living entities, so one who is a completely purified person, he is never envious of anyone else, and therefore all other living entities also become very dear to him. So such a person, although he is always working, he is never entangled. Entangled means uh, he never gets any sinful reaction for any activity he does because he is completely in a pure state of consciousness now. So in the next two shlokas, 8, 9 shlokas, he says, Naiva kinchit karomiti yuktamanyeta tattvavid pashyan shunman sprishan vibhan ashnun gachan swapan shwasan pralapan visrajan ghannan unmishan nimishan napi indriyani indriyartheshu vaktanta iti dharayan. So now Krishna is again is describing a person in spiritual consciousness, one who has attained the spiritual platform. Because in the previous shloka, he says, such a person, it's not that he has stopped doing activities and he's sitting in one place like a dead stone. No, he's doing. In fact, one who is self realized, one who has come to the spiritual platform, he's actually full of life. He's actually full of enthusiasm, doing so many activities, but he does not do anything for his own selfish motive. He does everything for the sake of the Lord and for the benefit of all living entities. That we will see in the coming verses. Therefore, now Krishna is saying, what sorts of activities is he doing? So he may be engaged in seeing, so hearing, touching, smelling, eating, because all his senses and his limbs are all engaged. So maybe he's moving around, he's sleeping, he's breathing, but and always knows within himself. But what is the difference between a self-realized person and an ordinary person? So the self-realized person, even though he's doing all these activities, he knows within himself that he is actually not doing anything at all. Now, this is a very, very profound statement. So this Krishna spoke about this briefly even in the 3rd chapter. Prakritehe kriyamanani gunaihi karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. So that we spoke about. Most of us, we are under the impression that, so I'm doing all these activities. So I did my work today. I cooked, I cleaned, and so I'm reading now, I'm talking, all this. So, but one who is self-realized, how is his vision like? He actually knows that even though he's doing all these activities externally, he's still not doing anything. Why? Because in that shloka, Prakriteha Kriyamanani, Krishna is saying, it is actually not the Jivatma. We are all not these bodies. We are actually spirit souls, Jivatma. So this Jivatma or the spirit soul is inside this body. It's residing inside the body. And it is simply witnessing whatever is happening to this body. So then who is making the body do these activities? So Krishna says, Prakriteha Kriyamanani. So this material energy, it is one of the energies of the Supreme Lord. So Supreme Lord has unlimited energies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. But for the sake of simplification, Krishna says there are 3 types of energies. One is para prakriti, apara prakriti. That means this material energy, what we see in this world, this chair, this wood, this stone, all this is made of this material energy. It is called as Jada Prakriti, because it is lifeless. So if you see a stone, if you keep it in a place, even after many days or many years, it will be right there unless someone has moved it. So unless a person has moved it, or because of wind or something else, it could have moved. Otherwise, there is no person within it, or consciousness. So that is material energy. Then another is spiritual energy. That means Lord's own internal energy, with which he, uh, creates the spiritual world. He has created this material world with material energy, his spiritual world with spiritual energy, and in between there is one more, that is us, Jiva Shakti. So therefore, here in this body, this Jiva is sitting inside, but then this body is being controlled by that third energy, which is that material energy. So that material energy has three aspects. It is called Sattva, Raja, and Tama Guna. So there are three types or three modes of this material energy. So it is these three modes of material energy, they are constantly controlling all our activities, depending on our karma, depending on our desire. They are controlling. Actually, even a small, insignificant task like lifting my hand. Now I want to lift my hand because I desired it. The hand came up. Actually, I'm not doing it. So these three modes, sattva, raja, tama, gunas, this material energy, it is carrying it out. Even through the agency of devatas. So anyway, this material energy that is carrying everything out. Just like how a person, I think I've given this example before, but I think it helps to understand it again. Just like a person, a passenger sitting in the car. So the passenger, there is a passenger and there is a driver and there is a car. So this passenger, he's the owner of the car, but the one who's driving is the driver. So now this the driver is driving, but now this owner or the passenger is asking the driver, okay, now you turn right. So the driver turns and the car turns. And then now the passenger or the owner says, okay, now turn left. So then the driver will turn left. Let's say that car meets with a small accident. Oh, this owner is so affected by it. He gets very upset because now the car has got damaged. But has he got damaged? No. He gets upset because it is his car. He's thinking it's his car. So basically, he's neither the car, nor is he moving the car. He's just sitting there. Similarly, we are also just sitting inside this car called as the body. And are we driving it? No, because we don't have the controls. The driver is someone else. Driver is the material energy, and also through the agency of devatas. So basically, this material energy is driving this body. We are only sitting and desiring. So actually, we are not even the owner. That was a crude example. The real owner is Paramatma. We are here as a tenant. We are only renting this body right now because the Lord has given us very kindly this body. So whenever the Lord says he's the owner, he says, okay, your time is up. You please leave this house. We have to leave. So at some point he told us to come and occupy this house. We have come and occupied this house. But still we are so illusioned, just like that owner of the car. So even though it's just the car getting hurt or meeting with an accident, but he's very upset. Similarly, we are thinking we are this body. And that's why if we get hurt, we think we are getting hurt. because we are very much integrated with the consciousness that I am this body. We are, because this is not this life. For innumerable lifetimes, we have been thinking we are the body. We were in different bodies earlier, but still the conception is the same. Therefore, in this, but the one who is self-realized, he knows that he is actually not doing anything. He is simply sitting there like that passenger. He's only witnessing. So therefore, he knows that he actually is not doing anything. Because while speaking, while evacuating, receiving, opening, or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. So how much we are identifying with this whole body is just like a machine. So the tongue sometimes gets some kind of a sensation that it wants to eat something. Okay, so let's say the tongue now wants to eat something sweet. So let's say I give it some fruit, maybe mango or some sweet or something. Oh, now the tongue is satisfied. But I am thinking that, oh, it is my tongue, this is me. I'm almost thinking like it is me who is getting satisfied. But it is actually the machine. It's only the part of the machine which is getting satisfied, not really me. So therefore, this is the very, very greatest illusion. We are all in. Only one who is self-realized knows that. Therefore, he is able to control the senses because he knows, oh, tongue is not, it will keep on demanding. So why should I give it? So he will, because he knows he's not the tongue. He's different from the tongue, and he is the spirit soul. So he's able to control it. But we are not, because we are controlled by these senses. So all the time, now we have, by understanding Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we have to come to a higher understanding that, I'm different. I'm different from these senses and the sense objects. Also, all the time, what is happening is these senses are demanding and we cater to these demands. The senses want their sense objects. For the tongue, the sense called as tongue, the sense object is food. And for eyes, the sense object is vision, something to see, right? And for ears, the sense object is sound. So these are called, therefore, there are 5 senses, knowledge acquiring senses, that is eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. And they all have their sense objects. Means for eyes it is vision, and for nose it is the smell, ears sound, and tongue taste, and skin touch or the sensation. So these are called as the tanmatras. So indriyas means senses, sense objects means tanmatras. So shabda sparsha rasa rupa gandha. So these are the 5 tanmatras or the sense objects of the senses or sense objects. And then there are 5 senses. So constantly these 5 senses are engaged in, they want to come in contact with their sense objects. Oh, then they're satisfied. Sometimes they're satisfied, sometimes they're not. Why? Because Krishna is saying, Matras Parshastu Kaunteya Sitoshna Sukha Dukkada Agama Paina Anitya Skam Sthiti Kshasva Bharata. We are always undergoing either we get little happiness and distress. Happiness and distress. Why? Because sometimes senses get their desired objects, sometimes they get undesired objects. That means, let's say we eat something. If it is tasty, oh, our tongue is satisfied. If it tastes very bad, our tongue is dissatisfied. So it's just a mechanical process of the senses coming in contact with their objects. Oh my God, this whole see, in just one verse, Krishna has actually summarized the entire complex of this whole life. Everybody is running behind this sense gratification. That's it. Sometimes they're satisfied, sometimes they're not. So, therefore, one who is self realized, he knows that this is all, it really is not even part of me. I'm different from this. Therefore, he is aloof from them. He does not run behind, gratifying his senses. Because he knows I'm not even the senses or the body or the mind, I'm the spirit soul. So now he's saying, the next shloka also he goes on to say, such a person who is self-realized, how does he then act even within this material world? How does he act? Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tattva karoti yaha lipyate na sa papena padmapatram evambhasa. This is a very popular and it's a very beautiful, profound statement. So Lord Krishna is saying, one who is self-realized, how does he behave within this world? He does everything, but still internally he's not at all attached to anything. And therefore he is unaffected by any kind of papa karma or sinful reaction, can never touch him. So therefore he's, why? Because he's performing all his duties by surrendering all the results to the Supreme Lord, and therefore he's working with detachment. So whatever activity he's performing, whatever result it's going to get, he's not thinking of enjoying himself. He's thinking of offering it to the Lord. So Krishna is giving a nice example here. Padma Patram Ivambhasa. That means one such a self-realized person, he acts as if the drop of water on the leaf of a lotus flower. Padma Patram means leaf of a lotus flower. Iva Ambhasa. Ambhasa means drop of water. So, I may have said this before. I'd like to say this again. Once me and group of some devotees and our family, we had been to this one place. So not very far from Bangalore, and there was a really nice temple there. I think it was Temple of Lord Narasimha, if I'm not mistaken. So, and there was a nice, pretty pond by that temple, and we saw that there are beautiful flowers there, lotuses. And we thought, okay, why not take it and go offer it to the Lord there? So we went, and with little difficulty, me and a few of the kids, we all pulled out. And then, we were thinking of offering it. But then I noticed that, the leaves were wet actually, wet with water. And suddenly this shloka came to my mind. Padma Patram Ivam Bhasa. A lotus flower, even though the leaf and the flower is in the water, there is so, it is never soaked, it is never wet by the water. That's why he's saying that drops of water on lotus, they're there, but still they don't really touch the surface of the lotus. Because that means if it really is touching it, then it will make the lotus leaf wet, but it is not wet. It will be still dry because it has a coating, some kind of a wax layer. So it will never make it wet. So then I realized this flower that I was thinking was lotus is actually not lotus. It is water lily. It looks like lotus, but it is water lily because I understood from this shloka that it can't be lotus. If it was lotus, then the leaves would not have become wet like this. So this was, even though it looked like that, but it was water lily. So every statement of Shastra is actually all true statements that we can, some of it we can even verify, like I just said. So Therefore, we should have complete faith in the words of the Lord, words of Shastra. So therefore, Padma Patram Evambhasa, self-realized person, he remains untouched by all this that goes on, even though he is well within this material energy, just like the leaf of the lotus flower, it's well inside water, but it still remains untouched by the water. Similarly, we should also do all our duties nicely, but we should always do it for the sake of the Lord, offer all the results to the Lord with full of devotion, and we should still remain always aloof, never get entangled, never be attached to anything, thinking that, oh, this is my family, my kids. We are all there temporarily together, that's it, until the time permits, and then we have to go separate ways. So the only relationship that is eternal and permanent is that of the Lord with Jivas. All right, so I'll end here. Anybody has any questions?